Excellent. Kia ora, everybody, and welcome to TEN's Wednesday webinar for this month. Today we are looking at cyber skills Aotearoa, and I'd just like to welcome on board at the moment. We've got Owen and Julie, who are lead educators from Grok Academy. I'll tell you a little bit more about them in a minute, but just to let you all know that as you're watching the webinar, you will have chance today to ask questions. So there is a Q&A box that you can type questions in, and we will answer questions at the end of the webinar should you want to actually ask any questions of all the panelists who are here on board today with us. So without further ado, I would like to introduce, we have Julie. So Julie has been involved with digital technologies education for over 30 years and is very passionate about motivating and engaging students in the area, in particular with technologies and digital technologies. I've known Julie myself personally for quite a few years now, and she has lots and lots of experience in this space. In particular with the curriculum refreshes that have gone on previously in digital technologies, and personally through experience of Julie being the president of DUTA, so Digital Technology Teachers Aotearoa, another subject association here in New Zealand too. Julie has been awarded or honoured and received numerous prizes and awards for her contribution to technology education in the past. So welcome, Julie. And alongside Julie, we also have Owen, who is also a lead educator at Grok Academy. Owen was previously the manager and technical lead of MadMaker, which is an outreach project which teaches STEM skills through programming. And this has previously engaged over 2,500 students and teachers. Owen is an electrical engineer who's also very passionate about teaching students to create and build technology to improve the world around them, which obviously is exactly what we want to do at TENS in technology education. So without further ado, I will mute and I will start. I'm all over the place today, honestly. I will start the session with a karakia, and then I will pass over to our presenters. So kia ora. Maore ora kia a mātou, arahina mātou kia mātou mahi. Ki mihia he huarahi mō te kōpapa o Mautaranga o Hangarau. Awhina atu, awhina mai, te pō e here ni e ia mātou hui te ikie. So kia ora, and we're ready for our presentation to start.
Hello, everyone. Thanks so much for joining us. So we're here today to talk about a program which we're just rolling out at the moment across Aotearoa, New Zealand. So it's called Cyber Skills Aotearoa. And this is based on a wildly successful program that we've been running here in Australia for a couple of years. And we've got Core Education or our partners to adapt it locally to Aotearoa, New Zealand, and also to put a cultural lens and translate the materials in Te Reo Māori as well. And I'll talk about that in a little bit. There's, as you can see at the bottom, it's sponsored by industry, so we have industry partners that are funding this project, and you'll hear from some of them in a minute. So thank you so much, Sarah, for that introduction. Both Julie and I are from Grok. I've worked at Grok for the last 6 years, and I've been developing programming and cyber security resources for most of that time. And it's really our mission to teach the world confidence in computing skills and digital technologies. And we're delighted to roll out this program here in New Zealand. And it's been a pleasure to work with Core, who are adapting it and localizing it. I feel like we've been introduced already, so thanks, Sarah. So I'll talk a bit more about the program more broadly. So what is Cyber Skills Aotearoa? It's a series of courses and unplugged activities to teach cybersecurity skills to your students, essentially. It's free for all Aotearoa New Zealand students from year 6 to 13, which is our target age group, and that's been provided by both government and industry sponsors. So you can see all of our fantastic sponsors that are collaborating, and it's a real partnership to get this program both developed and then delivered to you. So not only do the partners provide financial support, but also subject matter expertise. And so we work closely with them to ensure the accuracy of the technical content, and then adapt that and make it, I guess, digestible from an engineer's language to a year 6 or 7 student. We'll go through some of the features of the course and give you a little bit of a demo in a bit, but all content is both developed in English and Te Reo Māori. But before we go through that, what the content looks like, I'm going to throw to our industry partners, both from CERT NZ and from BNZ. So we have Hugh and Graham McClellan from BNZ. And they're going to present a bit more of the broader context about why this topic is important for us, important and relevant for us and our students to learn. So Hugh, if you wouldn't mind just taking over the screen share, and I'll throw to you.
Cool, happily. Once you stop sharing, I'll be able to share my one. There we go. Cool, let me know when that's popped up, okay?
Yeah, that's working.
Cool, so kia ora team. My name's Hugh. I'm a senior advisor with CERT NZ in their engagement and partnership space. If you're wondering who CERT are, you're probably not alone in the group. So as a quick rundown, we're the New Zealand government's public-facing cybersecurity team. We do a number of things to sort of help improve New Zealand cyber resilience, but broadly they're broken into advisory roles, publishing materials that helps individuals and businesses stay safer online. We gather the information from partners such as BNZ and other organizations to get a real idea of what the New Zealand cybersecurity environment looks like so that businesses and we can make better decisions when it comes to giving that advice. And finally, we respond to incidents by helping individuals and businesses, if they are the victims of cyber attacks, to get the support that they need and help their business recover and get back to normal. So I'm just briefly going to run you through some of the trends we've been seeing from our most recent quarterly report. Now, first question is obviously how common are cyber attacks? And unfortunately, these have been on the rise. As we spend more time online, we need to be doing more to help protect what's important to us and all of the things that we've worked so hard to create. In Q4 of last year, we saw 1,757 incidents reported to CERT NZ. 1,000 of these basically were responded to directly by us, and 470 were referred on to the New Zealand Police to manage. When we look at the overall numbers, the quantity of how many attacks happen sometimes can kind of get lost. So to bring it back financially, Q3 saw the largest amount of financial loss since CERT began tracking this. Q4 has improved in the fact that it was only 3.5 million were lost in Q4. Now that's not necessarily a good sign. Our data team are currently cracking into that, but we've just had a fewer number of reports come through. So we're starting to analyze why that is and where those reports are coming from. Direct financial losses for the previous 8 courses were 38.6 million, which is not an insignificant amount. When we think about the types of cyber attacks that happen, phishing and credential harvesting is the number one. This has been made more significant in recent times, with phishing emails being faster to produce thanks to factors like ChatGPT and artificial intelligence, as well, meaning they're just harder to spot, and also exposes people to emails in their own language, for example, Te Reo Māori and Finnish, in their native languages that they might not have been seeing previously, English being one of the predominant forms of language used. Scams and fraud are obviously up there. Those are anything from romance scams to text message scams. and unauthorized access, a little bit less significant, but still there. When we look at the financial loss, a common thing that we hear is that, look, I'm far too small. I don't need to worry about my cybersecurity. They're going to go after the big guys instead. And unfortunately, this just isn't true. The large organizations such as banks and big tech all have really good cybersecurity teams in place to keep them protected. Small to medium businesses and individuals typically fall victim to the very same thing that they think is going to keep them safe, which is they're too small. When we look at the actual financial losses, I just have something on my screen obscuring the numbers, which is great. But that first number of reports were less than $500. 9 of the incidents were reported were over 100K, which means that overall this attitude that I'm too small to be worried or targeted actually is not supported by evidence. And if you are thinking that, it means you are technically more likely to be targeted because you're seen as a softer target. When we look at cybersecurity, it's a really interesting thing because people often think of it as scary people, dark hoodies in basements trying to hack and do these big crimes. But in reality, the cybersecurity environment is just full of normal people just trying to either do their best to do harm or to keep New Zealand safe. I, for example, did not come from a background of cybersecurity at all. I've been in the industry coming up to 2 years now. Prior to this, I was a marketing manager working across nonprofit organizations. Now, I wish that I'd discovered cybersecurity a lot sooner because turns out it fits my personality quite well. I enjoy the gamesmanship as well as the intelligence that's required to share these stories and help businesses recover from cybersecurity incidents. But if you'd asked me in high school whether cyber was an industry I'd consider, I would have said no, predominantly because my teachers saw me as the musician or the guy who was really good at classics and English and those sort of non-technical fields. What I didn't know is that cyber security is a very broad industry, and we require people with a multitude of backgrounds from different cultures, different languages, all to help us basically make life as difficult as possible for those who'd like to do harm to either the people we care about or New Zealand as a whole. So when it comes to you as teachers and educators, being involved in this Grok program is really important because it gives kids practical advice that they can then learn how to understand what cybersecurity is, not only to keep themselves safe and potentially pursue a career, because the industry is absolutely desperate for professionals in this area, in the same way that we used to be desperate for coders and programmers. Now we're desperate for cybersecurity professionals. So if we can build that pipeline of individuals coming through that are interested in cybersecurity, that's fantastic. But more importantly, they can take these skills back into their households and their communities and become champions and feel empowered to help the people around them stay safe and lower those cyber crimes. So yeah, that's why this is really important to us and why CertNZ is so heavily supporting the Cyber Skills Aotearoa program. Cool, over to you, bro.
Thank you so much, Hugh. Really appreciate that. And if you have any questions for Hugh, we'll be answering them at the end. Next, I'm going to throw to Graham McClellan from BNZ. Take it away, Graham.
Excellent. Thanks, Owen. Thank you, Hugh. Can you see the screen okay?
Yes, it's working fine.
Excellent. Yeah, Graham McClellan here. So I'm the Divisional Security Officer at BNZ, essentially a linkage between our cyber team out into the business, and whether that means technology teams that operate the sort of internet banking, their mobile app, or staff systems for the sort of back-end administration, or wider out into the business in terms of the corporate and retail parts of the business who work frontline or who are looking to enhance customer systems and processes. So yeah, we've got a very well established cyber team of around 70, privileged to have the exec support over the last number of years to build and sustain a practice to look after your customer information, your money, and the wider ecosystem of cyber controls to protect the BNZ reputation. Certainly from a structure point of view, we flow right through into the exec. So my boss David is the general manager of cyber and governance. So we've got a team that was cyber and now attached to the wider sort of risk management and technology risk and service management business units. And essentially that gives us wide exposure into all the systems within BNZ, all the controls, disaster recovery, good resilience. So we've got good end-to-end coverage. And David reports right up through to the exec. So we've got a sort of seat at the top table. Cyber, as Hugh's spoken about, very popular, very in front of the media, given sort of latest attacks, the impacts of those cyber breaches. So our exec, our board are very interested in cybersecurity. So certainly from a career perspective for your students, absolutely the right area to be in. And on the right hand side, given a flavour of the different teams that we operate, I'll just sort of talk to a few. So cyber defence is the sort of protect the bank, looking after the sort of perimeter, all the sort of websites and systems that connect out into the outside world. So they get the sort of the events, the probes, the hacking attempts, and the like. So we've got really good systems to manage what comes into BNZ, the emails and the like. Information protection is a big one. So from a sort of staff perspective, as we communicate out to customers, communicate to partners, we also want to manage that information, making sure that it goes to the right place, and that staff are attaching the right documents, and really protecting the information that either we hold of you as customers, or our own sort of board paper strategy, all the sort of sensitive information that we hold. So cyber defence sort of manage information and traffic coming in and protecting from the baddies, and then information protection is looking at information going out. And as Hugh said, yes, there certainly are technical skills that students will learn in terms of the Grok programme, the Cyber Skills Aotearoa, but from a non-technical perspective, it's really about being able to communicate. So certainly consultants, architects, and our team in cyber awareness, it's about simple, pragmatic, and easy to understand language. So cyber, just like with IT, a lot of jargon, a lot of acronyms, but we have to articulate those risks and impacts for cyber to teams, to the business, in simple language, so that they understand and they can easily make decisions. From there, I just want to sort of give it a flavour of what we need as a business to be aware of. So Hugh talked about the numbers. So in terms of scenarios or risks that we face, data breach would be either compromising our website, or just as I spoke about from information protection, is that accidental loss. So a spreadsheet going to a third party, to like a broker, for example, or a one-on-one from a back office, like a teller, administrator going through to a customer. So making sure that they're sending the right documents. We've got controls in place there. Denial of service, it's not so much a loss of information, it's about availability of information. So similar to like a music concert, goes on sale at 9 o'clock in the morning, everyone tries to get onto the website, you get the sort of spinning wheel, you're in line or in queue, for example. So similar to that, effect, we want to make sure that we've got the right capacity in our system, and if attackers try and flood our network, and we've got controls in place to choke that and make sure that the website, the BNZ app, etc., is always available. Next, phishing. So essentially, phishing with a PH is really phishing for personal information. So as you would probably see in your own personal email accounts, you get various scams coming through using trusted brands, whether it be sort of supermarkets, telcos, any sort of online brand, Netflix and the like. So they'll come at you with, oh, your account's locked out, you need to log in, or the sort of parcel delivery type texts. So just like those, our brand gets impersonated in a sort of daily, weekly basis. So yeah, it's about knowing what is real and what is a fake, and then they'll either request personal information to use that to log into your system, or to log into your account, sorry, or actually ask you for likes of credit card numbers to reuse and try and monetize that attack. Ransomware it could be similar, using using an email with an interesting attachment that you think, oh yeah, I'll open that because it's got some salary details or some file that's really enticing to open. It'll look normal, but then in the background it'll start to go around the network looking for open areas to attack. And so 5 or so years ago, it was around locking the PCE and basically saying, pay me Bitcoin and then I'll open it. Or what we've seen recently is that the hackers will get into the network from whatever mechanism, whether it's a system that's not up to date or through an email, stay in the network for a while, gather information, and then look to monetize that by actually then starting the sort of scrambling the systems and saying, well, if you don't pay us money or Bitcoin, then we'll release all this information. So we saw that play out with one of the district health boards a year or so back. So they got information, they took it offline, and then they went to them and said, well, if you don't pay us, we'll release this. So yeah, so the sort of key cyber threats to be aware of, and certainly the comment on the right hand side is that, yeah, the hackers, as the incidents show from New Zealand, but yeah, globally on the rise. The hackers and scammers are making good money out of this and building their empires and upping their skills, and really developing sort of leading edge offensive activities that we have to then defend against. Just some examples. So what a scam looks like. So on your sort of personal phone, you would get something that says, okay, this is from Apple ID. Actually, is it from them? Okay, how do you tell? So if you click on the sender Apple ID and actually see that it's not from Apple, it's from a sort of scrambled email address. And then if you hold down the manage your account link on the left hand side, it pops up with the link, which is again not any Apple related. So yeah, on a workstation laptop, you've got a mouse to go around the screen. I guess what I'm showing you here is that on a phone, if you hold the link down as opposed to tapping it, if you tap and hold, then it pops it up just to give you a preview of where it would go. So yeah, as I say, many brands, you get many emails every day. It's just those tips around checking where the sender, because the email address can be made to look like anything, and then the link again is it legitimate? There's an option there to get some educated guesses. And on the right hand side, as I mentioned, we do get emails and texts impersonating a brand very, very often. And probably the key thing to note is that if you do click, what you're presented with will be a replica of our website. It's very easy nowadays to sort of copy the code and make up what looks like our login screen. So yeah, it's about validating what are the sort of red flags to say, just to sort of pause for a second and really look into, like, am I expecting this? Is it asking me to take an action? And probably the key thing would be that we absolutely do not send you a link to log in. Always log in from the website, always log in from the app, just like any bank. So certainly look out for those. And to be honest, though, it's a scattergun approach. The hackers and scammers don't know you're a BNZ customer or an ASB customer. They'll just send it to New Zealand mobile numbers or New Zealand email addresses and just hope that they get some people clicking through. Some resources. So on our website, we've got some great advice up to date with sort of latest scam information. We've got some animations to how to validate and how to recognize a scam, and then some good cyber tips, how to manage your account, how to manage your laptop, how to manage your passwords, for example. So yeah, so some really good information on our BNZ website. And then we've got a getscamsavvy.co.nz website, which was launched 3 or 4 years ago. There's different advice from both a personal perspective and a business. There's some quizzes in there, some examples of different scams, whether it's a phone scam, whether it's a fake invoice scam, or the example there, buying some puppies. So good advice, and certainly from a student perspective, they are absolutely in a great industry trajectory. So there's many opportunities, and certainly reiterating Hugh's comments, there are technical roles, but there are all very non-technical business-focused roles. It's about understanding sort of business impacts, good communication skills, and being curious and bringing your enthusiasm to work. So yeah, thank you very much, and happy to take questions later.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Graham. And some of the resources that Graham mentioned are actually in our teacher guide, and we can link to supplementary going through the content. So thank you. What is in the program is probably what you're interested in. So there's important security concepts that we're teaching, a lot of what Graham outlined, and also what practical skills, and how we do that, and we'll show you some demos in a few minutes, is look through like some sandbox scenarios so students can interact with scam messages in a safe sandboxed environment and interact with them correctly. So what courses do we have? So information privacy and security, which is coming out next term. It's in pilot at the moment. They're just finishing it off this week. That's our main course, where we cover sharing information online, good password practices, and phishing and scam awareness, just exactly what Graham was talking about. And coming out later and early next year, we've got some slightly more technical courses for those interested. So learning how web applications work and how they make them secure, and sort of the client server interface and sort of hacking websites, and looking at cryptography and how ciphers are designed, and students building their own ciphers. And all of this content is in English and Te Reo Māori. And we also have a competition that we're running twice a year, and the next one's in term 4 this year. And there's information on our website, but that's been very popular already. And it's designed to run for about one lesson or 45 minutes, but you can take as long as you need. and that runs, that is in both English and Te Reo Māori, and it's delineated in different age groups, so 6 to 8, 9 to 10, and 11 to 13. And some supplementary materials. We have posters for classrooms, both in English and Te Reo Māori, about password practice and scam identification, and also a card game activity that you can download to promote discussion and supplement the online materials. So all of these are being released at the moment, and what's coming is just the online course material that we're talking about today. So I'm going to throw to Julie to talk about the curriculum links and then give a little demo of the materials.
Kia ora, everybody. I recognize some of you online from teaching, and you're here probably because one of the reasons, how does this fit into your curriculum? Is the content, besides being really relevant to society, how does it fit in with the curriculum? And it really has strong links to the Hangaro Wahanga Ako technology learning area, because at the basis of the technology learning area, we're saying we want students to be able to participate in society as informed citizens and provide them with a platform to technology related careers. So by going through the program, they are being more informed, they'll be able to inform the whānau. And like we have our industry partners, there are videos throughout that show them careers, and they also help present the material. So it links to the overarching goals of technology. And then within the NZC, within the teacher guidance, and I just have the different levels there depending on what you're teaching, but basically at every level, we're wanting students to look at the sort of pros and cons, or the impacts that technology is having on society. And even though we're having it expand our possibilities, what are those impacts and how can we influence that? So by looking at it, yes, they're all digital citizens, we're digital citizens, and there are so many positives to our digital environment, but then how can we overcome those? And then by being more aware, and also by learning these skills, then they can overcome those aspects. Specifically with Hangaro Matahiko and digital technologies, a goal in there is that students are able to evaluate digital content. So they're actually getting an opportunity to evaluate it and looking at those ethical and end user considerations. And specifically in DDD03, there's a statement that students should understand that with storing data comes the responsibility for ensuring security and privacy. So they're seeing what happens, and if we're teaching students to start to build digital content, they have to also think, how do we ensure on the other end later down the track that we are ensuring that privacy and that security. And for those of you who are senior secondary teachers, you can think of the relevant implications here. So the relevant implications linking to privacy, linking to ethical and social and end user considerations. So that all links to NCEA as well. And I know some of you might be here for teaching NCEA level classes. So with the Progress Outcome 7 in computational thinking, students need to be able to explain different concepts related to computer science and explain the relevant mechanisms and address those key problems and issues. Specifically this year, computer security is one of the topics of the level 2 external exam. And the points that I've highlighted there, spam emails, two-factor authentication, steps to take to protect data privacy, all of those things are within the course content. There's another thing, it says that it will specifically ask for impacts in relation to future proofing and human factors, and students can see what happens with human factors. How do we get pulled into those phishing and scam emails or oversharing? And then finally, not part of the course content specifically, but one of the requirements says that they must discuss policies and practices of a multinational technology corporation, and they this year gave specific multinationals. It happens that one of our partners is one of the multinational corporations, and they are actually preparing a case study, and we'll put that as part of the teacher guide and also run a webinar on that, so that can help with the NCA. So there are a lot of links to the curriculum. It's divided up into different modules, and I'll just do a quick overview. Within the six to eight, they only get the first two modules, and then the second two modules are for years 9 and up. And so the first one that they all have access to in a slightly different format, though, is about that purposeful sharing. So yes, we can't tell students or people don't share information online. You know, if we just say don't. So we show them the implications. Think about what you're sharing, and those things that you might share now that you wouldn't be happy with people having access to later, and those risks. And also there's a lot around at the moment the word sharenting. So there are some problems around the parents are sharing more information. So we have them investigate all of those things and be conscious of it. And then the other thing around passwords, and we've had good feedback from the pilot schools already saying, yep, they're getting the point of not doing the key smash and having a really weak password. Look at device passwords. So when you log in, if you have a weak password on your device, and you've shared all of your other passwords within your browser, then people have access to all of your online passwords. So we look at the features of passwords and have them explore what good passwords are and protecting them. And then following on from what Hugh and Graham were discussing, with the 9 to 13 modules, we look at what happens if there is a data breach and you've reused that same password in 20 different places, because that's what we do, because we think we don't want to remember them, remember too many. And what are the implications of that? How having multi-factor authentication is more secure than providing passwords alone. And then we have students in, like Owen was saying, in a kind of our sandboxed environment, looking at identifying phishing and scam emails, the red flags that happen. So it's not just a sort of tick boxy, a lot of reading content. We do have video course content throughout. So throughout all the modules, there will be cybersecurity people from our industry partners with talking about their careers and also delivering some of the content. Within the 6 to 8 modules, instead of having a lot of reading heavy material, we have students, and they're all Aotearoa New Zealand students. They're in Zoom chats like our students are used to being in, and they're talking through these things. And then after they talk through the concepts, then the students go and try to solve some of the problems. So the other thing that we've had really, again, positive feedback in the pilot is that we've got this simulated phone interface. So instead of just asking them, multi-choice questions, tick box questions, we pose problems to them where they have to sleuth and find out the answers in the simulated interface. And they're taking on a role of an ethical or white hat hacker, and they're trying to maybe solve problems for their friends or showing them the weaknesses. So we have we have these simulated apps. We have fist bump, flash tag, and whatevs, which are like Facebook and Instagram and WhatsApp. And as you can see here, that we have everything is in English and Te Reo Māori. So depending on your quota situation, you can deliver the content in either language. And so I just have a few examples of the problems I will go through. So this first one is in the year 6 to, these first two are in the year 6 to 8 challenge. So holiday friend, this is, here we go. It's coming up. So we all know that we share a lot personally as adults. Oh yeah, I'm going on holiday and this is when I'm going to be gone, and we're letting the whole world know that our house is empty for a wee while. So and this one they're trying to find out through looking through the fake apps, and there's a find feature. I happen to know who this is, so I can get through it a little bit more quickly. It shows how they can piece together information. So here the friend is sharing what she sees out of the hotel room, and also she's saying goodbye, we're on our way, and she's also posting a photo of her street. And then on her flash tag or Instagram, she's also posted that she's a picture in Hawaii. So through, I guess, putting together the bits and pieces of information, somebody can find out where she lives, that she's on holiday, and that she's on holiday in Hawaii. And this one, on Hine's password, it's really looking at the notion that we think that passwords are okay if we put in sort of these symbols, but we teach the students about knowing that those aren't always secure, like better password policies. I thought I would show this one because it shows about how we have some scaffolding for them to help get the answer. So there's a video, and she's discussing her password, and she said, but people won't get it. And when you mark that, oh, it's not exactly right. And so popcorn is her cat's name. And it's kind of, it shows you in a few attempts, if you were a hacker, you could figure it out. All right, so then we're going to put in those symbols that we think, the substitution symbols, and it gives them some more feedback. Oh, it's pretty close, what else that could be? And then we finally get it. So through having previously in the video, there was an online discussion. She gave away some hints. She doesn't think people can get it, but within a few attempts, they can actually hack the password. And with this, I'm not going to show, I'll just discuss these problems so that we have time for questions and answers. But in the data leak one, so the student's password is involved in a data leak, and through some other posts, she's posted her username, and then the students sleuth around and they figure out that they can get into her online banking, which is our fake online banking is Gruns. And in the password panic, this one, they do look at a simulated, some simulated emails that are phishing emails. I might actually bring that one. If I've lost my mouse here. In password panic, just to show you one of the other tools, when they click on it, they annotate. And just like Graham was talking about, we have them hover over the links and they annotate where they see that might be a phishing email, instead of, it looks legit, but what are those little things around it that make it not legitimate? And in Eero's leaked password, this is an online chat in whatevs. He is having a discussion with some of his friends. He gives away his password because he wants them to buy something on Steam for him, and then they're able to get in to some of his other accounts. And this one is all of us do. We post our boarding passes, goodbye, you know, we're on our big holiday. And then this is based on a real scam or a real hack that happened. And I think I'll turn over to Owen now, because you guys wrote this problem originally based on an Australian Prime Minister.
Yeah, Tony Abbott posted his, our ex-Prime Minister here in Australia posted his boarding pass on Instagram, and a friend of ours got into his airline account, and which had all of his passport information, his phone number, and he has a government passport, right? So basically all of his personal information was compromised just from posting a picture of his boarding pass on Instagram. And so that was enough information to log into his Air account and get and the company had poor security practices, and I can link to an article about that if you're interested. So we do use real examples, and we'd like to talk about the persistence of data, so that there are real consequences for posting something over time. So some real world examples might be, say, a teenager. So there's an example, English cricketer posted some, somewhat quite racist tweets when he was 17, and 10 years later, when he gets selected for the national team, he gets banned for a few months because of his historical tweets. And so it's important to communicate to students that your digital footprint is persistent and it does have real world consequences. I did want to show you a bit of a demo now. And so what features do you get as a teacher to view your students? So if you can stop sharing for a second, Julie, I will share my screen.
I'm having, there we go, because stop share, sorry.
There we go.
While Owen's getting that up, I just want to remind that besides this online content, there's full teacher guides as well with other activities. And like Owen was saying, these real world, we give some real world examples and other discussions that you can have with your students.
So as a teacher, you can monitor your students. And so what does that look like? So in an example I'll just go to a particular example where I know there's progress. All of these students are enrolled in this course, in this demo school, and you can sort by progress. So you can see that Bart Simpson hasn't done anything. He's been slacking off as expected. And so you can see which students are doing well, and also see which students haven't done very much. And the green means that they've got this question correct. The orange means they've attempted this question, but it's not quite correct yet. This question is about, this course in particular is about, it's a programming course about finding carrots. It's designed for quite young students. But as a teacher, you can view in your students' submissions, and you can see exactly and you can see and interact with what they do within the platform. So that's quite a nice feature, and you can download their marks and certificates. And so you can split them up into groups or classes. So this is a particular group called student workshops, and you can assign them content. And so if I'm logged in as one of the students, you can see that this student is assigned the Monster Maker course, but if I change that to the cybersecurity, I'll just type cyber, the cybersecurity course, which is of course what you'll all be assigning your students, then the practical way is once the students are assigned, when they log in, they just click the top thing, and then that's the course that they've been asked to do. And so this is going to be released next term on this platform for free. The other feature that I did want to show you is we have a feature called Live Classroom. So if you click on View Live, you can see what your students are doing at the time. So this was me while Julie was talking, looking through this course, and I got some questions right, but I've currently stalled because I've given up on attempting and talking to you guys instead. So it gives you status of your students' progress through the course, and will notify you. So if you have an iPad or something, or you just have your computer open at the front of the class, you can observe what your students are doing, and if they need help, it should notify you by telling you that they've stalled, and you can give them positive feedback, or just go up to them and let them see how they're doing. And so there's a few more features, but there were some of the ones I just wanted to show you. And I'll hand back to Julie. So do you want to share your screen again, Julie?
Oh, hold on. Sorry about that. I'm not sure what you guys are able to see.
We just see the PowerPoint on the, but it's not in present mode anymore.
Yeah. Going back and forth between switching, my mouse disappears on me sometimes. Sorry about that. Okay. I just thought we would leave that up for more information while we're answering any questions that might come up.
Yeah, so just to reiterate, all of this is free for your students. Everything that we make is free, and it's Creative Commons license, so you can free to adapt it. If you want to make changes, that's fine. And we're really excited to get this out to Aotearoa New Zealand students. Do you have any questions for us?
Oh, I just want to say thank you for that amazing presentation. Even I was actually blown away by some of the numbers that came through from some of the industry experts there. And yeah, I've had a little bit of understanding about, especially encryption myself. But some of those numbers that are coming through, especially with looking at potential careers for the students in the future as well. This is obviously a major upcoming area for our students and learners too. I will just pop open. So we have got a question. I'll just ask. So we have one person asking, do you host parent evenings as part of this program?
I can answer that. Not exactly, no. If that's something that parents are interested in, then that is something we could absolutely do. I think this is, we've been focusing this program on the school space primarily because it's important for all of our students to learn and adapt to this. But one thing I will say is we are in around October, we do have a deliverable which just focuses on whānau and community. And so I believe we'll be supplying some information for students to go and educate their parents and community about what these skills are. So some resources around that. However, we are absolutely open because it's quite easy for us to jump on and do a webinar. If that's something you think would be popular, Lisa, then we can absolutely host an event like this for parents. And thanks for your question.
Fantastic. I think actually Lisa's got a follow-up question actually from when you were talking there. So do you have any slides that could be shared with families for an educational point of view about the program?
Not specifically slides for families. Not currently, no. I would actually point you to CertNZ's and BNZ's fantastic resources that are designed exactly for families about this topic, because in the school space it's a slightly different context. But there is lots of practical advice that is designed for families. About this program specifically, though, no, we don't have slides currently. But
I can Owen, if it helps.
Yeah. Thank you.
So an easy way to so we've been receiving more and more requests from schools to talk about everything from ChatGPT and sort of the AI space to how they can monitor and help keep their kids a little bit safer online from a cybersecurity perspective, which falls within the CertNZ remit. The easiest way to get your hands on this information is to just flick us an email at info@cert.govt.nz. That's CERT. info@cert.govt.nz, and I'll come back to you with some resource packs. It also helps us when you have those requests and putting them through, because then I can sort of start tasking the team to develop them and spreading them around. There are some really good resources already available under the individuals section of our website. So yeah, take a look around and we'll be happy to help if you can't find what you need.
And I just want to jump in about Lisa's question there. Also, we had comments that the teachers need to go through this because over half of the breaches on Network for Learning are from teachers having insecure passwords. And so Network for Learning would actually like teachers to do the program with their students. Yes.
Yes.
And certainly we can take on board the, maybe some information for parents why their students should do this program at school as well. Yep.
Great. And I saw that Hugh typed that in the Q&A section, that email address. So thank you, Hugh.
We can also share that with everybody who attended and registered at the end as well. So when we send out the link to the webinar video.
Great. And I can say when I was a school student, I definitely knew what my teacher's administrator password was.
I think there's quite a few students that still do.
I'm going to get Julie to answer Hannah's question.
Yeah. So Julie, we've got the question here. How can we be a teacher of your curriculum in New Zealand?
So if you want to be part of this program, we are going to send out, and we'll post it on TENS and we'll post on DTTA, the links to register. So it's becoming live just start of term 2. We're just finishing up our pilot and we're going to take on board any feedback from our pilot schools and we're going to open up. So we'll send that out, and certainly we'll send out registration links to the teachers who have attended the webinars as well. So I think that's what you're asking. And yes, so you'll get a registration link, you'll register as a teacher, and then you can add your students. And again, it's all free.
Yeah, I would just add that this course, the information privacy security courses, are being endorsed by the MOE, both in the English and Te Reo Maori versions. And so they're just finishing up that ministry endorsement process at the moment. So we anticipate that will be done by the time it's live in term 2.
That's awesome. Fantastic. I've just got a quick question as well, because obviously I can see the implications with your courses and modules with the support from industry for your intermediate school students going through to high school and secondary. Absolutely clear links there. Is there any consideration for going slightly younger? Because I know from being in a primary school as well, there are students nowadays who are obviously from year 1 that they are using devices and having to obviously use passwords, and it's obviously quite hard to teach 5, 6, 7, 8-year-olds some of this content, but they do pick it up. I know from my own son, when he was 7 and started his password was actually, we had that the website where you can check to see how unbreakable is your password, and out of the lot of us in the whole family, his was the best, and he's the youngest of us. So I was just wondering, are you looking in the future of maybe providing some educational resources for slightly younger learners as well?
Excellent question. That is something that we could look at in the future. I think it probably just depends on the success of this program in Aotearoa, New Zealand. So in Australia, we are actually at the moment developing from foundation to year 4 resources for exactly that target age group. We're making some little card games and stuff for them to do offline and to teach these concepts. And that's something we're developing in Australia right now. And so if this program is quite successful, I think that's we can ensure that the program can be funded for more teachers across Aotearoa, New Zealand, and we'll be able to adapt that material to New Zealand. Yes, so
yeah, I can definitely see there being a need. Well, not just in the future, actually, from talking to primary school teachers currently and using some of that information to help and support in this space, because I think all digital technologies is an area that many teachers don't feel as confident in. And so having that support to help them would be fantastic. Yeah. Well, I just want to say a big thank you to everybody who's come on board and presented today. We haven't got any more questions from everybody that's been on board, but we have had a wide range of different people joining us for the session. A big thank you to Julie and Owen, who are obviously sharing our courses, and obviously to Graham and Hugh for taking time out of your busy schedules and your work lives to actually come and join us and help to support all our teachers and students in the area of technology education too. So ka kite, thank you very much. For those of you who are online, if you could please fill in our feedback form, and we will email this link through to you as well. By filling in this feedback form, you can either scan the QR code or click on the bit.ly link. This is for TENS. This helps to support TENS with future professional learning in the future, because then it helps to support us and helps us to understand what your needs are in the future. So please take it. It'll only take a minute or so just to fill in the feedback form. Once the webinar has finished, it is being recorded to the cloud at the moment, and it will be put up on the TENS YouTube channel for you to watch whenever you want to. So if you miss something or want to reiterate or reinforce something that's gone on from today, you'll be able to jump onto our YouTube channel. And on the YouTube channel as well, there are all the other webinars from TENS webinars and also from a TENS conference as well. There are video resources there for you to go and have a look at yourselves. And just to advertise to finish off our next webinar. So next month we have Sonia from Betso Weaving. He's actually going to go into a completely different area of technology. We're looking at materials, and we're looking at the introduction of raranga, so harekiki weaving. So please, the registrations will be there. It's Wednesday the 26th, 4 till 5. I notice my 4 till 5 has been chopped off the bottom, but Wednesday 4 till 5. And once again, we have a QR code. This will be up on the TENS website as well, so that you can register for this event too. So to sign off today, we will complete the session with our karake. Before I go, I just want to say one final big thank you to the team from Grok and to our industry experts, and also from Holly from ENZ for setting up the webinar today for us at TENS. Kia matou katoa, kua mutu matou a matou mahi me kaupapa hoki. Arahina matou ka a matou mahi ano. Kia whakatapua matou ki ngā kaupapa me ngā mea e whakapono. Manakitia mai matou. Kia ora everybody, and I hope you have a great evening.